Hello, everyone. Going to present you another LinkedIn post today, which is out of the Exponential Blueprint edition number 31. The newsletter that counts 22,000 and counting, more than 22,000 founders, investor, and C-suite executive. So let's go straight into it. I'm very excited about this post I'm going to show you now. So here we are on the LinkedIn post. So what is the post all about today? It's an anticipation about one of the major lever of high valuation strategies. Now, as you know, intellectual property monetization is part of the high valuation triangle, which is effectively the recipe that we introduced in 2017 for the University of Plymouth. Now, this post today, it was about how the IP what makes it unique, but at the same time, without a supply chain control, you may lose a lot of money on the table. So eventually, yeah, IP will be the monetization that you will that will make you that will effectively establish your positioning into the market. But when it comes to execution, you need to control the supply chain. Now, you need to control more than you think you need to own, okay? So let me just explain you quickly about this concept. Yeah, so I was just making the example today about two companies with great IP, but only one made real money because the ownership of the intellectual property is absolutely the stumbling block. So you have to do this if you want to really execute the high valuation triangle. However, at the end of the day, it's not about just any kind of monetization. It's also about how you monetize the IP, the terms of your exit. Okay, and that really depends on the supply chain. So I'll give you one example today. One is a biotech. Biotech that really started with a novel probiotic strain. And instead of immediately doing a licensing of this, they built their good manufacturing process, certified manufacturing facility. Now, thanks to this, the positioning of the business became obviously very, very strong, and the margins jumped from 42% to 79%. Now, that obviously attracted investors' attention, and they exited for nine figures. So that was the first example today. That's the positive one. So remember, not just because of the patent, but because they were so strong, exercising control how it was produced, especially with the GMP status, which is actually very, very important. Yeah. Now, GMP, for those who do not know, is just an additional standard, which usually is pharmaceutical standard that some customer they may request you to have before they purchase your product. Okay, so that was a great success story. But as usual, I always give you also a negative story because we learn so much more from failure than we do from successes. I made the example of an AgriTech founder with the weather sensor for the soil. It was a very breakthrough activity and a breakthrough technology there. Now, the mistake they did was that they immediately outsourced production to a third party. Now, when you do that, you don't control uh, who is going to do the production. There's a risk that your IP can be copied and knocked off. Unfortunately, it just took a few months for this to happen. So the edge was gone and the investor left effectively the building, as we normally say. In the post, I've also mentioned about Harvard Business Review. Now, Harvard found that the companies with lots of IP, lots of intellectual property, monetization capability, but without vertically aligned operation, earned much lower profits than those who instead they go ahead with an integrated fulfillment. The calculation was 2.3 times lower profit. Now that's quite astonishing because when you think, well, I've done my job by filing the patent, protecting what I do, that's not enough. You need to then execute. And supply chain is how I execute, okay? Now, obviously, as I mentioned today in the post, that's not absolutely a small gap, yeah? It's not a small difference at all. Just think about difference, you may exit at a multiple of 5 or exit at a multiple of 12. Now, that's a big difference, So the end of the story really for today post is that if you really think intellectual property is enough, you're just leaving money and protection on the table. So don't think that just by establishing IP, you will be done. Then you have to execute, yeah? Don't forget, IP is what really makes you different. And that's absolutely the starting point, the right starting point. But really, what makes you rich eventually is the supply chain. Don't forget that. And with that, I'm happy to close for today. Again, thank you so much for your support. This 43,000 almost YouTube subscriber who are following our program is really fantastic to hear from you. Plus the 22,000 newsletter subscriber. And let's not forget the 32,000 LinkedIn followers. Thank you so much. Don't forget, this is not about me. It's about you. It's about the transformation of your business. So if you want to tell your story, please feel free to put your comments below. This is about sharing knowledge. This is about really sharing how we do business. Thank you so much for your attention today, and I'll see you again tomorrow with the newsletter with edition 31. Thank you. Bye for now.